Hi, it's Amy from the Macaron Academy, and today I want to talk about 3 tips to help prevent hollow macarons. Tip number 1 is your meringue. We need to get your meringue to stiff peaks, especially if you're using the French or the Swiss method. Oftentimes, we will stop mixing the meringue when we think we're at stiff peaks, but we actually need to go a little further. Here in this video, you can see how the tips are pointing straight out, and you can see how the meringue actually clumps inside the whisk. This is in a stand mixer. Now, if you're using a hand mixer, it will take you longer to make the meringue. In my last video, which I'll link in the cards above, you'll see it actually took me 20 minutes to get to stiff peaks using a hand mixer. But if you're using the hand mixer, you still want to get those straight pointy peaks, and you can see that here in this video, what we're looking for. You want to make sure to keep going with your meringue until you get these straight pointy peaks. That's when you know you're at stiff peaks. So once you achieve stiff peaks, then you can go to the Macaronage stage, which is tip number 2. In tip number 2, it's all about the ribbon. We always hear about the ribbon-like stage, and that's where you want to stop your macaronage. But I found that it's still so easy to overmix your batter. So I want to give you a tip that I have found that works really well for me, and I've been able to get consistent full shells when I use this method. So as I macaronage and my batter starts to thin out and it starts to flow off the end of the spatula, you may hear a reference to figure 8s. So one of the things that I do is I will lift up the batter with the spatula, and I will try to make a figure 8 with the batter. And I find that when I can make 2 to 3 continuous figure 8s before the batter breaks apart, that is when I need to stop. If I go beyond that and I can do 4, 5, 6 or more figure 8s, I've overmixed my batter and it becomes too runny. For me, the magic number is 2 or 3 figure 8s with the batter. And tip number 3 is your oven. One of the most important tools that you can have in being a macaron baker is an oven thermometer. Especially in residential ovens, the temperature will fluctuate and it doesn't stay the same temperature all the time, which when you're making macarons, this can be problematic. So you want to know what the true internal temperature is inside your oven. And the only way to know that is with an oven thermometer. We can set our oven setting, say, to 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius, but the internal temperature could be 10 to 15 degrees hotter or cooler. We just don't know until we put an oven thermometer in there, and that will make a big impact on your shells. So learning your oven and learning what the true temperature is inside will make the biggest difference. And oftentimes what I see with hollow shells is we didn't bake long enough. Like, we're afraid to overbake. So for me in my oven, I have found 300 degrees for 15 minutes to be the magic numbers. Your oven and your temperature may be completely different, and this is just something that you have to experiment with. So I say start with 300 at 15 degrees. If your shells are still hollow, the insides are still underbaked, I would increase either the time by a couple minutes, or I would increase the temperature. Do one or the other and write down the results. Are you still getting hollow shells? And is the inside still a little underbaked? Another thing that I see with hollow shells is your shell will be almost full when it comes out of the oven, but then when it cools, the inside seems to sink and it creates this hollow pocket between the top of the shell and the meat of the shell. This is where you have to really get into the details. Maybe you baked at 15 minutes at 300 degrees and this situation happened. So what I would do in that case is I would keep my oven at 300 degrees, but then I would bake at 16 minutes and see what happens. And if I still get that same result, I would go to 17 minutes. And then if my shells start to get hard or crunchy, then I know I need to back down the time. And maybe what I need to do instead is stay at 15 minutes, but increase my oven temperature. And if you can increase by 10 degrees, that's where I would start. My oven will only increase in 25-degree increments. So, I have to play more with time versus temperature. 325 in my oven is too hot. It will burn my shells and they get very hard and crunchy. So I know 300 is kind of where I need to be. Now it's just figuring out what's the magic number for the time. 30 seconds could make all the difference. I highly recommend, paying attention to the time as well as the temperature. Let me know if you're going to use any of these tips and if you found them helpful. If you would like for me to make more troubleshooting macaron videos, let me know in the comments below. I'm here to help you become a master macaron maker. Thank you for watching today's video. If you like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and while you're here, make sure to watch this other macaron video. Have a wonderful and blessed day.